All right, we have made it. We are at episode 9 of the Foley and James podcast. This is the last in the current series of travel stories. It's the last in the current series of the USA Summer Camp series. I've said series way too many times there, but that's how excited I am about this. The final episode, we are talking about the few days leading up to and the few days after, directly after camp, what we got up to, what that involved, and also if we have somehow got you interested into working at a summer camp and you'd like to get involved, we're going to mention that towards the end as well.
Series.
For me, the biggest thing I took from it, and it sounds bad, it wasn't the working with the kids, it was the people that I worked with. That were just the best, man. They made it what it was for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There's some of those people that I'd like to think I know I consider them friends for, hopefully life and whatever, and I'd like to think some of them think the same of me and you as well.
Definitely.
Like, it helped obviously for me that I'd worked a few summers, and there was all 3 summers that I was there was certain people there all 3 summers, which is great.
Well, that's one of the things I loved about it, is so I was surprised when I turned up that I was one of very few first timers there. Like, this was a place where a lot of the staff were returners. Some of the staff were even previous campers that were now old enough to be staff, and like that made me. It felt like a huge family. Everyone was a massive team, and it just made me feel as a first timer like really welcome and fit right in straight away. It was a really like positive environment amongst the workers,
Yeah, it was. Now, there was obviously a few. Like, I know, it's one of the things that the director, when doing the orientation for us at the start of the year, because we had to go in on like the Wednesday approximately. I don't think we got. I think we both got there early and on the same day this year. But I know, say in one of my previous years, I didn't get there as early because I knew everything, and but like this year we got there early to help set up and stuff. So, but you go through, like we've just gone through the whole day. You have to go through like that for the staff as well, because they need to know what's expected of them. Because for some of them, it's their first ever job.
That's true. Yeah, let's talk about that. As we mentioned, some of them are ex-campers. They're now just turned 18 or whatever, and they're going to work there. Yeah, they've never had a job before, so we had a couple of days training beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. So that was normally Wednesday through kind of Friday and Saturday morning. And then even as early as Saturday evening, you'd have kids arriving on international flights and stuff.
Yeah, then it gets going. But like, let's talk about those few days beforehand then. So the camp is actually running for 6 weeks, but we're there for a few days previously and a few days after. So me and you arrived on the same day in Boston. If we go back a couple of episodes, you'll remember that you were flying in from Orlando via Washington, and I was I got a bus up from New York. Now, we had arranged, I knew your flight times and everything, so we had arranged to meet at Boston Logan Airport at the right time and stuff, but your flight got delayed, and then I think it came to a different terminal, so I was in the wrong building, and we just missed each other. So there was a bit of like messing around getting that sorted. But when we got there, let's talk about the setup for that.
Just come back a touch. Yeah, I remember because you eventually had to get a train. You had to get the T to a station that was close by the campus, and then a friend of mine drove and picked you up. Like, I went with her, obviously.
Yeah.
But I drove and picked you up, and as well after, as you said, my flight was delayed, and I went into a different terminal than it was supposed to. My friends had been running around the airport trying to find me. And of course, my battery died in my phone. So I was just like, this is the last place I know they were. I'm going to stay here. And then I just walked in around that area for a little bit and eventually found them. Yeah.
Is that what happened? I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
So yeah, those first few days, it was, I don't want to say we were living like campers, because it wasn't quite that. But we had to immediately get into the
mindset.
Kind of staff mindset of, right, we have to be up at this time, and then we'll go do what for us is orientation, what for the kids might be coach, getting coached and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we'd go through, like as we did, we'd go through day by day almost, hour by hour, and then you'd go Yeah, and then you'd go through, okay, what does this duty actually involve? What does door duty at the cafeteria involve? And, you needed to know all of this stuff.
Yeah, and as in addition to that, we also, of course, this is for 9 months out of the year or whatever, this is a college campus. This is not a kids' play area. It's a college campus. And so all of these sports activities, while the fields and the halls are obviously there ready, we actually have to get the equipment set up. And now that was all stored in big containers that are left there, sort of during the year. And we have to empty the containers. And so that's stuff like baseballs, all the balls from all the sports, a couple of bats, rackets, clubs, whatever it is, helmets, equipment, stuff for the office, of course, is in there as well. All of the linens, everything was had to be sorted out. And I remember one of the days, me and you were tasked with taking all the baseball stuff down to the field.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even just the base. It wasn't even that. It was so there's a container down there, and we could just go and sort it out. Really,
it was just a mishmash, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was, because it was down beside the soccer pitch, and the lacrosse turf and football turf, and very close to the baseball and softball fields. So yeah, we were in there just sorting stuff out, and of course we ended up finding a glove each, didn't we? That actually fit. And yeah, I don't know how long we spent just throwing the ball around.
I think it was about an hour.
Yeah. And it was something to Americans especially seemed like nothing. But to us, we'd never done it before.
No, we'd never played catch with the baseball glove and stuff, and it was great fun, wasn't it? It was really cool.
It was. It really was, in fairness. With baseballs and with the softballs, which are as hard, but they're bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. We'd have grown up maybe kicking a football around or something for an hour. So we never got to do this, and it was really good.
It was really the I don't know, the sort of movie picture. It was hot, it was warm outside, and it was just sort of in the sun, just you and your friend, and just throwing the ball, shooting the shit, just it was really cool. We were supposed to be working and cleaning out this container, but it was. Yeah,
but in fairness, we did it for the most part.
We did.
No,
we got the job done.
Yeah, it wasn't as hectic as the as some of the other containers, in fairness, because I volunteered us to do that because I knew it wouldn't be I know some of the other containers contain all the signs and a couple of fridges and stuff like this, because I'd have packed it up previously and I know what it looks like when it's packed up. Exactly. And I'm I'm not going to do that one.
Exactly. So that was your advantage of prior knowledge that obviously I didn't have, so that was helpful. But yeah, what else did we do for that? That was about it, wasn't it, I think?
That was it for the most part, obviously, and then just getting to know people helped, and then getting to know kind of the hierarchy of people as well, in a sense.
Yeah, because you had people of all different ages, and as we say, me and you particularly were pretty much, I think, probably the oldest there out of the workers, but there were people obviously younger than us who were above us in the hierarchy, and you just had to sort of get to know who was who, what was what, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that was pretty much it, really. And then the kind of Saturday afternoon, we might have had a couple hours. I think a few of us might have gone out on that Friday night because we could. We knew we had no kids to deal with on the Saturday morning. We still had to be up, and we still had a bit of orientation to do. But because we did, the Saturday orientation was for the Sunday check-in day, as far as I can remember. So that happened on the Saturday morning, and then if with Saturday afternoon, I won't say free, because that's when your work kind of started as well, because you had to make sure everything was ready for the check-in on Sunday. All the sports had all the equipment, you had to kind of double check everything. But you might have had a couple hours free in the evening, which was nice.
Yeah, exactly. And then the opposite happened on pack up after the last kids had gone, right?
Yeah, we packed everything up.
And the reason why, so let's say this. So you mentioned that you chose the baseball things to unpack because you knew that the state of the other ones was horrendous and everything. And the reason for that is by pack up day, you've done 6 weeks of 18-hour days, constantly moving, constantly. It wears you down. It's tiring, and then you've got to do 2 days of packing it all away, and you do not care anymore.
Yeah, we'd have started the packing within the sports on the kind of Thursday morning, but Thursday afternoon and stuff, because some of the kids wouldn't be there at all on the Friday, obviously, But I know for soccer especially, we'd have a tournament starting on Thursday afternoon, going through Friday. Or I think maybe all day Thursday. I think it was all day Thursday and then like Friday morning. So we could pack away a lot of the stuff on the Thursday. You know, a lot of the sports did that, but the problem is with the rest of the camp. So for the likes of the checkout day, you couldn't because so much of the stuff was needed.
I mean, absolutely. And so there was obviously lots of stuff left over, and you know, there was still a couple of kids knocking about. Like, it was the international kids mostly who had flights at different times, and so counsellors, obviously we couldn't let our guard down or anything. You still had to be on top behaviour. You still had to be responsible, look after the kids, and you're also trying to pack all the stuff away. So it was very much a case, although it's not really the proper way to do things, of just throw it in the container any which way you can and just shut the door. It's like get it all in there.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, like there was like actual fridges like taking up so much space. There was random things like some of the games we'd have bought so the kids would have things to play over the summer, like cornhole, and I think there was another couple of things as well.
Frisbees and stuff.
So the kids would have frisbees, loads of random stuff that you'd need to fit into, you know, containers, so they'd be there for the next year, obviously.
Yeah.
And then there was a few of us that I don't want to say had to, but kind of volunteered because they needed someone to stay on the Friday night, the final night there.
Yeah, and it fit our schedules because we obviously had flights ourselves booked back to Europe, and they were a couple of days after camp, so it suited us just because it gave us somewhere to stay for that night. Yeah,
exactly. And so that night, because I don't think I was flying maybe till the Tuesday, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it's about that.
But you were flying from New York, weren't you?
Yeah, I flew out of JFK like on the Monday, I think. I think I flew a day before you.
But so yeah, the Friday night, we there was, as you mentioned, there was still a few kids that needed to go to the airport. So we I guess volunteered in a way, you know, because I'd done the airport runs before. Some of the kids, you know, volunteered and do you want to tell the story of what happened when we got there?
So we got a taxi there with the kids. There was these French kids, wasn't it? There was like what was it, 3 of them, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And these were the ones that I mentioned earlier had gotten off at the wrong summer camp.
Yes, at the time I didn't know this, and I wasn't aware of anything like that. There was this group of French kids that had all arrived, like a class of French kids that all arrived at the same time in Boston, but then were then sort of dished out among various camps across New England. I didn't know that was the thing. So we took these.
Yeah, because they'd all booked through the same company essentially,
right.
And the company just sent them to different camps in a way.
Right. Okay. And so we took the 3 kids back, and me and you knew that because they were under 18, we were legally obliged to, or for insurance reasons anyway, for the camp to stay with them until their plane takes off. That's the rule. Mm-hmm. So we had to go through security. We had to take our passports with us so we could go through security and be basically the responsible adult with these kids, see them onto the plane, watch the plane take off, so we know that's them done. So we get to the airport and we're standing at the check-in desk, and all of a sudden these kids start chatting French with these other group of kids there, and I didn't have a clue that there was another camp there, so I didn't expect it at all. I don't know if you realised straight away that it was obviously their campmate, their friends from home, that a different camp, or what was it?
I don't know if I might have done because I think I recognised there was someone there like that had the company's name on her like T-shirt or something. So I think I'd have recognised it because I was the one who picked them up. And I'd have recognised the name from that.
So she was there, this representative from the company, with the group of kids she brought from the other camp. And so we were, okay, well, we hadn't expected it, so we were just getting to sort of used to the situation. We went to the check-in desk with our group of kids, and they were right behind the other group of kids. All got checked in, and the check-in lady says, so which one of you is going through security with you, because we need to give you you have to get some sort of pass or something so that you come back out again because you're not flying. And we were like, oh well, the 2 of us are going through with this group and she's going through with her group, and they were saying no, only one of you can go through with the whole group because they're actually all together, and only one, we can only allow one of you to go through. So we obviously wanted immediately this other woman to go through, or we didn't want to, we didn't want to stay and do the extra work. But we kind of, I think we did it very diplomatically. We're like, do you want, like, who wants to go through, this sort of thing. But she essentially, did that task for us.
She goes, well, I work for the company, so I'm going through anyway.
Yeah.
We just kind of look at each other kind of going, okay.
Yeah, we really had to not show how enthusiastic we were about that decision. However,
that didn't last long.
Well, this is the thing, it didn't last long, and you punched me for this. And it was, we were walking away from the check-in desk. Like, we said bye to the kids, whatever.
Yeah.
They knew what was going on because they knew the
company, I guess.
Yeah, and let's put this in perspective, right? It's been 6 long weeks with some kids, and these kids in particular were very frustrating. Actually, they were more of the more troublesome out of the group of kids that we had. And so seeing them go, let's just say, was not a sad affair. And as we were walking away, we said bye to them and everything. As we were walking away, I thrust my hands into the air with the vigour of someone who's just won the gold medal in the 100 metres at the Olympics. And was like, yes, it's finished, they're gone forever. And you
were like 10 yards away from
them. Oh yeah, no, we're still well within earshot and eyesight of these kids. And I think they probably heard/saw me, and you being aware of this very promptly gave me a little thump in the arm.
Yeah, at least I waited till we got round a pillar to do it.
No, you did. Oh yeah, as soon as the doors of the automatic doors of the airport shut behind us, you were very happy as well.
Yeah.
But what had happened, of course, we were. Our camp had paid for our taxi to get there and had booked our taxi back already. Assuming that the flight was going to leave on time, but we were now 2 hours before that time because we were expected to go through security, but we weren't doing that anymore. Yeah. So we now had 2 hours to kill. For the first time in 6 weeks, it was just me and you, and we had a city of Boston waiting for us with a free ride back to camp later. So what do we do?
Yeah. We because obviously, as I said, as I keep saying, I guess it's my third time in Boston, and it's might not have been something I've said before, but it is one of my favorite cities ever. It really is.
Why is that?
And I was like,
just for a second. Why is that? Why?
I don't know. I don't know. I think just the first time I was there, I loved it. It's not like there's a history to it, but there's such a modern feel about it as well. Other cities have one or the other, it seems, especially in the States. But and I don't know. Like the first time I was there for 5 months, and at some stages there, I didn't have a job. I didn't know where some of my next money was coming from, stuff like that. And I was there with friends the first time for some of it, and then I was off on my own, and I had just such a good time there for that first time that it really stuck with me. But yeah, so I was like, let's go right in the center of Boston, in around Faneuil Hall. There's going to be live music. It's a Friday night. And you're all up for that because you do love a bit of live music.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we went in. I think. Did we do 2 bars?
We did 2 bars. We went in the first... I can't remember. One of the bars we had pumpkin beer, which for me was a novelty. I'd never had that before, so I was chuffed with that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to... Because I know one of the bars was a place called Sissy K's.
That's right, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I remember that. And it's a great little spot. Downstairs, there's normally live music, and then upstairs, from about 11, there's like... It's a nightclub, essentially, upstairs. Which is quite kind of cool, but it's a small little place. Like, it's not a big place at all. So that was where we had some good live music. I am trying to remember if we definitely did a second place or not.
I can't remember. I just remember the live music, and it was really good. This guy doing acoustic covers of rock classics. Like, it was fantastic.
Yeah. I want to say we had a quick one somewhere else.
I think we did.
We probably did, in fairness. But then after that, we went and got some street food, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. What was it again? It was one of the sort of...
It was a hot dog, I think. Yeah. But it was like... It wasn't a hot dog like you'd get in a packet in the supermarket. It was like a giant sausage.
Yeah, it was something that you definitely had before, and you just said, like, let's have this. It's something you should do.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd been through all of South America eating street food for a lot of it. So it's just like, why not do it on our last proper night together. Well, no, it wasn't our last night together because we'd still had the the concert the day
Well,
after.
yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. But like so we had the street food, and then, but like we then, I think it was only then we realised that although we had a taxi booked back for us already, and that's why we were killing time. The taxi was booked for us from the airport, of course, and so we now had the problem of neither of us having a phone that works in the States and having to try and rearrange this taxi. So I went across to like a convenience store just over the road and asked them if I could use their phone to ring this taxi company, and we did. And the taxi guy was fine. He just came up. He was a really nice guy, and he just came and picked us up from the town centre and took us back. And we were a little bit. We weren't drunk, but we'd had a few beers, and so we were a little bit merrier than we probably should have been.
Yeah.
So we had to play it cool when we got
And we were just so ecstatic that we'd just finished camp after 6
There was
weeks.
definitely that. But we had to play it cool like when we got back a little bit, just because the director and his wife, like his sister, sorry, who was there was there, and so we had to kind of, behave. But yeah, the next day. So you mentioned the concert. Go on, tell us what was all the next day, the last day.
So there was it was the Saturday. So we went into Boston and we ended up getting it was myself and you didn't want to go because you weren't overly ecstatic about country music. You didn't want to spend the money on a
let's say so.
tickets.
It was Zach Brown Band, and this was a band that you love and had played their songs to me throughout the whole of South America on your speaker, which is not a bad thing by any means. I genuinely got to love country music because of my Irish friend in South America, and I really love that band now. It's just I wasn't familiar with them enough to warrant. They're one of the top bands in America at the time. They were playing Fenway Park. That just kind of puts into perspective how big these guys are. It wasn't. I couldn't justify the spend of the ticket for it just because I wasn't familiar enough with them, but
which is absolutely fair. So it ended up being me and a friend of mine, and she loves country music as well. She loves Zach Brown Band.
So she was one of the volleyball coaches. We both
one of the volleyball coaches and a counsellor there as well. So if you're listening to this, you know who you are. And that was an awesome concert.
Hey, what about the day? The day was awesome too, man.
I hadn't forgotten. Don't worry. So, we just spent the day. So we got in, and we were actually staying that night pretty much on the floor of another friend who we'd met. He was a counsellor there as well.
He was he was a counsellor and he was a student at the college, so he lived very locally, and that's why he
lived quite locally, but a bit closer to Boston, really.
Yes,
in a way, in a sense. But we were staying with him. So we went Saturday, late morning maybe, and dropped our stuff off, and then we headed into Boston. Just it was the three of us because the guy whose house we were in had other things to do. Yeah,
he just left us his key and he just gave us his apartment, which was really cool.
Yeah, and it was a great day, really, wasn't it?
We just did a pub crawl essentially, like Boston. If you've not been, Boston is where the bar from the sitcom Cheers is. And so we went to like the Cheers bar. Although they have a couple. We didn't go to the real Cheers bar. We went to like a mirror.
We went to the TV one as opposed to the one that the series is based on.
Yes, correct. So yeah, exactly. But we had a beer. Then we just did a pub crawl. So me, you, and our other friend, and we just got very drunk all day. And the problem was she wasn't 21 yet, so she had a fake ID. And it worked for the whole day, and there was one place. We got to Fenway, and there were loads of bars around Fenway, so we were just hanging around there, because the plan was you'd go to the concert, and then I'd hang out in the bar, listen, because it's an open-air stadium, so I could listen to it anyway, and just carry on drinking in this bar opposite. But we were having a few drinks in the bars around the stadium, and there's just this one place that ID'd us, or her, all of us, and he just said, "This isn't you, I'm sorry." And he just, what I didn't realise they do is they then keep the ID. Like, she was then stuck.
I know. I do remember the name of the bar. Again, obviously won't name it for legal reasons. There was, like some of the other bars that we went to, a couple of them had live music on as well, and this is on the middle of a Saturday.
Yes, fantastic.
There was one of them that we went to, and I can again remember the name of it, but I guess I shouldn't because she wasn't 21, name it. Even though we've already said we're at the Cheers bar, but screw it.
Allegedly,
so
covered. You
have no proof of that other than the photos on our Facebook. So we're at this bar, and like it was cool because you go in a little door, and then just to the left of the little door was like these giant windows that opened in the way. So all you had was a windowsill, like a wall up to maybe middle of my thigh, and then it was open onto the
that's
street.
not a helpful thing. No one can see you. Can't use visuals on a podcast.
Yes, you can. So about what a 2.5 foot wall, and then this open window up to the ceiling that just opened up, and they had this open, and then they'd like someone playing acoustic music in there, and it was a really, really good day.
It really was. And
apart from her ID getting taken, it's what the only downside.
It was just the perfect way to end what was a really, well, for us, an awesome travel. That was our last day together after being together pretty much 24/7 for 6 months. Like, that was huge anyway, but it was also just a really cool way to end the 6 weeks of this camp experience and say goodbye to Boston, and it was wonderful, really cool.
Perfect. And like at the concert inside, we just myself and this girl, we'd take it in turns getting a few rounds in or whatever. But the concert itself was amazing. They've been a band I've wanted to see for a few years. It was Boston, actually, the first summer camp I was at, that started hanging around with a couple of guys that got me into country music in the first place. So it was really cool to see those there. Yeah. Steven Tyler did a few songs with them that night, actually.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah. And then so that was our last night. We went we stayed as we say at the friend's house, and I left the next morning.
Yeah, you had it off relatively early
because I had to get to New York for my flight, didn't I?
Yeah, and I was staying in Boston for another night. At least.
Did you stay in his apartment still?
No, I went and got I went on to like Hotwire or something, and you can get like you can go 3-star, 4-star, whatever, and I think I went 4-star, and but you don't know what hotel it is until you book it.
What is that? Sorry, what is Hotwire?
I think it was Hotwire, the one that I used. There's also a Priceline. Hotwire is just it's a site where you can do what I just said you'd do. You like put it in. It's like Boston 4-star hotel. You can choose like flight and hotel, flight and car, all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's just a price.
If I went now and went like, kind of, but what it does, it gets you last minute cheap rates, and the only thing you can find out is the rough location of where it is in a city, and not until you book it and pay for it, then it tells you what hotel you'll be staying at.
Why does it do it like that? Why is that like such a mystery?
I guess just because like it gets the cheap rates and stuff.
But I mean, like, surely the rate's the same even if you know where the place is. I don't understand why they do that.
Yeah, but then if you had a really cheap place and it's a hotel that you didn't like before.
Okay. Yeah. Because I know there's a company, an airline company in Germany called Germanwings, and they do something called a blind booking.
Sounds tasty.
Yeah, and that's really cool. Sorry, I just got that. That was really slow.
Hey.
They do something called a blind booking, which I haven't done yet, but I really want to. And you basically type in the type of holiday you want. So city break, sun, sea, sand, mountains, adventure, whatever. And that's all the information you give them. So that means you're going to pack for the right sort of holiday. And you pay for your ticket, and you don't know where you're going until you've paid for it, essentially. And you'll receive your booking confirmation in your email. And that's the first time you learn what your destination is going to be. And I think that's kind of just a fun. I mean, all it is for them is they're just selling up. They're just giving away the seats that are not filled for cheap.
Yeah, of course.
But it's kind of like a nice little twist on that. I like that.
Yeah, no, that is cool. Yeah, like this site that I'm just on, just went on it, kind of there. So yeah, like it'll tell you it's 4-star hotel in downtown Boston. And it's $133 per night, Canadian dollars, so that's where I am obviously right now. But that's, for 2 people or whatever, which is dirt cheap. And that's for this Saturday night.
Wow, that's really good, considering
and it's got
Boston, like 80%, a major city.
Yeah, exactly. It's got an 80% recommendation, and if I went and booked it, it'd tell me.
That's fantastic. That's really cool. I didn't realise that. So were you just one night in that? What about our friend? What did she do? What did she do?
She was going back. I don't know. I think she was flying back that day that you were flying as well.
Oh, okay.
As far as I can remember.
Yeah. So what did you get up to? Did you just chill out, or did you do anything?
I did something similar to what we did on the Saturday. You know what I mean? I just had a bit of a pub crawl around Boston, chilled out. Tried to meet up with some other friends that I'd known from previous years, but obviously it was such short notice.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really decide that I was going to stay in a hotel until about 2 days beforehand. So it was such short notice to meet up with people. Just wandered around and took in as much of Boston as I could again.
Wow. That's cool. And then you flew from Boston back to Ireland, was it?
Yeah, I told my parents that I was going to Canada.
Oh, yeah.
For a bit. Right. And I just flew home and surprised them.
That was really nice. How did they react?
Mum was like really pleased to see me and all that. And then when I got home, Dad wasn't at home. So I just went to bed because I was so tired.
Yeah.
And I came downstairs a couple hours later and he's like, aren't you supposed to be in Canada?
That's funny.
Yeah.
And that was our 6 months, mate. That was our travelling done. That was the camp done. Shall we, before we finish, if there's anyone listening who's never done a summer at a summer camp but has heard of it, or, all that sort of stuff, let's just say how you can get into that sort of thing. Like, there's obviously the big one is Camp America. If you Google Camp America, that's the most, I would say, popular camp thing, but neither of us actually got into it through that. So what did you mention at the very beginning of the camp story?
The site that I used was in Indeed, so it would have been like Indeed.com for America, but there's Indeed.ie.co.uk. I'm assuming there's an Indeed.de for Germany, like there's an Indeed.ca for Canada, that kind of thing. So I just searched, I don't know what I searched, probably soccer coach or something, or because I was lifeguard at the time, so I'd have searched lifeguard. And it comes up with a whole list of things, and you applied for it, and if you pass obviously all the tests and you have all the credentials, the criteria, and they like you, obviously that's a kind of important factor. I got a job.
So, and it's just like applying for a regular job. You just fill in the application, and it's just very similar. But visas, like, you have to sort that out yourself, right?
Yeah, you do.
Depending on where it is. I mean, even if you're in England, there are, believe it or not, summer camps for sports that are in England, and it's becoming more of a popular thing. It's traditionally a US, stereotype thing that's the way the summer camps are, but they are everywhere now. You can do them as close to home or as far away from home as you like.
I growing up, actually, I'd have gone to a soccer camp every summer. There was one that was in my town, it wasn't an overnight one or anything, obviously. It was just a kind of 9 to 3 or 9 to 4 job, and I'd have gone to it, so I knew about camps at least. I knew kind of obviously what they'd entail, and then the rest you just see on TV and movies again.
Yeah.
Not Friday the 13th.
Or the other alternative, if you can't be bothered to do all the research but still want to do a camp, then do what I did and just wait for someone to say, oh, do you want a job at a camp?
yeah, exactly. And if you're on if you're on my Facebook especially, there's a couple of camps that I'll be sharing over the next few weeks and stuff. People that I know, and I wouldn't be sharing these camps if I didn't think they were worth working with.
I assume there's one in California. Are you talking about?
Yeah, there's one in California, and then there's actually one here on this campus in Canada.
Oh, cool.
That I'm on now. Yeah. So, but again, guys, if you're not in those countries, you'll have to sort out visas and stuff like that.
But get involved; they're well worth it.
The people you meet, as we've mentioned, they could easily become friends for life.
Absolutely,
without a doubt. And that's it, guys. That's 6.5 months over 9 episodes of a podcast of what myself and James did through South America and North America. That one specifically that you just heard was us finishing up what we talked about the couple of days before camp and the few days that we had in Boston after the camp. Don't worry, it's not the end of us. That's we have a lot more to talk about, a lot more ramblings to share. We'll be moving on to talk about a couple of different things. Our next one is actually probably going to be a podcast or a couple of podcasts on podcasts. How we got into them, some of our favourite ones, and why we like them. Our YouTube channel is the Foley and James podcast channel. We're both on Facebook. We're both on Twitter. James is at TweetBelsey. I'm at OCR Cove. OCR Cove is also my Instagram name. And Crazy Axel is my Snapchat. So add us on all of those things, guys. We're proud members of Team Follow Back, so you'll kick up your own numbers. And like, comment, share, and keep an eye out for the next few podcasts. The travel stuff will probably make a comeback because we've both done a reasonable amount of traveling, but we're going to take a break for a little bit because that's been 9 episodes on YouTube, probably more on our podcast channel when we eventually get there. But do keep an eye out. We'll be moving on, and feel free to share some ideas for future podcasts for us to talk about. So unless James has anything to add to that.
No, I think that's a perfect end to the current series.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.